I've been alluding to the fact that winter is on its way for the last few videos, and someone had asked me when fall actually starts in this area of Alaska, and it's a little hard to say, but what I can tell you is that the second week of July is when I started to see the trees start to change from green to yellow, and here it is now, and things have really changed. Lots of golds, reds, and oranges. It is absolutely beautiful.
I'm not seeing any termination dust on the foothills as of yet. It's a little hard to tell whether or not the mountains behind me have gotten a fresh dusting or snow or not. But regardless, I know that snow will be here, in a matter of a few weeks, if not the next month. So I have ahead of me a couple of projects that I need to get done before that snow falls. And one of those is picking up around the yard, just making sure that anything that I don't want buried under snow is picked up and put away. And that also includes covering up some things such as this wood pile here. These are the old rafters from the original roof on this cabin. And they've just been sitting here for the last couple of years. I've had them stored underneath this plastic tarp, which is kind of blown around over the past summer. So I need to uncover them, restack them, and then get this put away and move on to the next project. Right now it's full of water. My friend from Barrow is still here helping me. I know some of you have been really curious about who he is, and all I can tell you is that he is a friend of mine that I've known for quite some time now. We used to work together back in Colorado. Currently he is working up in Barrow, where he works anywhere from a month to 3 months at a time. He only has a couple of weeks off in between his hitches, and this summer he agreed to come out and help me get some projects taken care of around the property. And while he's here, I plan on fully utilizing his help, because there are some things that just require more than one set of hands, and I have a feeling that this is going to be one of them.
The wind kicked up just as we started to cover this pile, so I'm doing a voiceover because the audio was so bad. However, this is the same plastic that I used on the greenhouse, the same plastic that was used on the roof to cover the sheathing during construction whenever rain would come about. I love this plastic. It's much better than a traditional tarp because it has the ripstop in it. Therefore, it's not prone to tearing or disintegration. This plastic's been out here for a couple years and is almost in as good a condition as it was the day that it was first brought onto the property.
One of the other projects that it's going to help me with is attaching some metal to the exterior of the bathroom wall, where the snow has been allowed to pile up and cause some moisture damage over the past couple of years. Last year when I was putting in the bathroom floor, I noticed some moisture right along the other side of this wall. At that point, I found that the ground had grown up or had accumulated along the foundation, and water was being sucked in through the logs. So I loosely applied some roofing metal on there, but that's not really a good solution. It kind of tipped over. What I'm really trying to do is prevent rainwater from splashing against these logs and the snow from piling up here. Now, I can't do anything really to keep the snow from falling in this area. Yes, I know a lot of you have suggested that I get a snow blower, which might happen in the future, but as of right now, I don't have one. So I've come up with a temporary, possibly permanent solution of applying some metal sheeting along the bottom portion of this wall. I've also pulled away the dirt from the foundation so that moisture isn't allowed to sit right up against these logs and accumulate, nor the snow. So hopefully this works. Anything to keep those logs from further deteriorating. When we attached the metal, we used some decking screws with some washers so that the screws didn't pull through the metal eventually, or if the metal gets pulled on, it's hopefully not going to rip through where the screws are. But again, this might be a temporary solution. Who knows?
it might stay there for quite some time. One of the other tasks that I need to tend to while I'm in the garden is to empty the water storage tank that's in here. Very easy. I'm still using the same electric pump I bought and just draining it off on the other side of the newly created driveway on the north side of the cabin. One of the projects that I had lined up for this summer, which never got completed, was to clean up the basement. As you can see, I have stuff everywhere. In fact, I still have building material sitting here from when I worked on my laundry room. But as it is right now, I'm just down here to get a pair of metal snips because, well, you'll have to follow me back upstairs to see why. I needed my 10 snips so that I could cut some radiator cover. These are pieces of perforated metal that you can get at any of the big box stores. And if you're curious as to what I'm going to be doing with this, well, you'll have to follow me around to the other side of the cabin. Up here in the eaves of the cabin, when my roofer built my roof, he originally put in some thin wire mesh as some bird screening, which you can see in that dark area right there. About a year or two ago, I came in with some spray foam to seal up the corners because I had some rodents coming in. But I noticed that up there at the top, right there in the center of your screen, that the rodents were pulling it down and still making their way in. So I'm taking that radiator cover that you saw being cut and attaching it up in here to prevent the rodents from being able to get in. This I'm screwing into place along with the help of my friend so that they can't pull it down and they can't make their way in, but it still allows the venting that is needed thanks to these small holes in that radiator cover. Here behind the cabin, while Kenai watches me and my friend works on the other side of the cabin, I'm actually taking some more steel wool and filling in some more openings in the log walls, because this area here is the only area over the past summer, I guess, where I've actually heard a mouse in the wall. And as I look right here, there's a nice big hole in the wall. I think I have all the other openings, maybe not, covered up. But as you know, it's a forever game of trying to keep mice out of a cabin when you live out in the country. Now that I have the steel wool in there, I will come back with some spray foam to seal over that. But as we all know, mice can chew through the spray foam, but hopefully that steel wool will at least slow them down or prevent them, like I said, from coming back in the cabin. I have a couple more of these that I'm going to fill in and then off to the next project. Fall in Alaska means rain. Fall and spring means winds. When you get the high winds averaging at about 35 miles an hour, coupled with that rain, it can find any opening in the roof that there might be. Now, I'm not concerned about the construction of my roof. My roof is actually holding up really well. I think my contractor did a great job. However, water is known for finding the teeniest of openings. And here in my bedroom, you can see that some water was blowing in. It was coming from around the collar of the chimney. So my friend decided he'd climb up there for me with some high heat silicone and run a bead of that along the base of that collar. So I'm kind of glad I don't have the ceiling up just yet, because it'll allow me to see if any more water comes in with the next storm that brings winds with it. When I had the property graded over this past year, one of the things that I asked for was to create these push-outs. That way when the driveway is plowed, the snow has someplace to go, as opposed to just piling up along the edges. The driveway is not all that wide, and if I allow the snow to accumulate along the edges, it just gets more and more narrow as the winter goes along. So today, what my friend and I are going to be doing is going through and just clearing out anything that could potentially puncture my tires. So you may have noticed that the plow was separated from the plow truck. That's because I actually did puncture one of the tires and I had to take it and have it repaired. So now that that's done, we're going to be working on the plow truck today as well.
But for now, let's just check out all these push-outs that I had created.
One of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to put some reflectors on these trees so that as I'm coming down the driveway, I'll be able to clearly see where these push-outs are. You would think it would be kind of obvious since there's no trees in between these two, but just to be on the safe side, I'm going to put some reflectors on here and on here. And as I continue up the driveway, I have more push-outs. So it's not just the one. I have them located several places up the driveway. So here's another one that you can see, and you can see that there is some debris in there. Not only is there this small tree in here that I mentioned earlier, which is not too much of a concern, though it is still somewhat, but there's things like this, which is a tree stump in here, which is more of a concern for me, especially with the plow blade as I push snow into these push-outs. Looks like it's more of a rotted log than it is a stump, but nonetheless, it needs to go. So I'm not going to cut out these little saplings for fear that where I cut them will be sharp and then puncture the tires. But one thing to keep in mind is that all of these cutouts are pointed in the direction of travel. So this one is going to the right this direction, and the ones coming up this way are directed again off to the right at an angle, so that no matter which way I'm driving, sorry for the shaky camera, I can drive straight in and push that snow off in that direction. Most of these actually look really good. Not seeing a whole lot, maybe a few tree roots like that first one I showed you, but for the most part, they seem to be fine. So I'll probably have my friend come back through one more time with the bulldozer just to grade them down a little bit more, just be on the safe side. But I think everything in here is looking as expected. Kenai and I are sitting inside of the new plow truck I bought because there's some things that I just need to get taken care of on here too before winter arrives. One of the things is I need to do some maintenance and get the plow reconnected. Then the other thing is this vehicle did not have a backup camera available on it. It's a 2011, so it's an older unit. So I bought this particular unit here. So this particular unit comes with a screen so I can monitor. Right now I have the little camera, which is right here, which is showing Kenai in the back seat. But let me show you how this camera, which is now free floating, operates. So the camera is just, like I said, a little free floating unit. It has this magnetic plate on the back, which allows me to attach it wherever I need to. For now, we're going to put it right here over the tailgate handle and go check out what that looks like on the monitor inside of the truck. So I'm going to take this from here so that I can see the front of the truck in order to hook up the plow. One thing about that camera is that I need to remember to disconnect it when I'm done with the plow truck and put it back on the charger, because that camera unit does not have a hard wire to it. So it needs to come in at the end of the day and go back on the charger so that it's ready to use for the next time. So many projects in so little time, but I'm happy to report the plow truck got the seal of approval from my friend. So that means a lot to me. There are a few little things that still need tended to, nothing too major, but overall the plow and the truck are in good working order. So I'm a happy girl. Nonetheless, I'm going to end today's video here. Thank you for watching as always, and I'll be back next week. I hope to see you in the comments. Until next time, stay safe and take care. Thanks for watching.